What is up, guys? Welcome to Nolan Talks. It seems like LSU is hiring someone new every day. LSU hires two new coaches in linebacker coach Blake Baker and defensive line coach Andre Carter. I'm a little. The thing is, I like these hires. I think it's really nice that LSU is doing this. I think we're hiring a lot of unproven guys, and I think that's great. I think Coach O, in the past ever since that Matt Canada hire where, he picked the hottest name in college football was him that year, and he hires him. This past year was Bo Pelini, and he hires him. He looked at Bo Pelini, talked to one guy. He didn't interview anyone else, and he hired him. So Coach O, moving away from that trend and kind of going more towards the, young, unproven coaches. I think it's a bold strategy, and hopefully it pays off because I'm constantly talking about this as far as this is his most important season. Like if he fails with these hires, he's gonna be gone next year. He won't return next year. But let's just jump right in as far as talking about the linebacker coach, Blake Baker. So Blake Baker was the Miami Hurricanes defensive coordinator. In his first season, he had in total defense, they were ranked 13th in the nation. And then in his second season, they were ranked 53rd in the nation, which was a big drop, but they did lose a lot of players to the draft and whatnot. But they were ranked pretty high still as far as in the sacks category and the tackles for loss. He's 38 years old. He's a Houston native. He played linebacker at Tulane. He kind of bounced around college football and ended up at La Tech, where he was a defensive coordinator and safeties coach, and then linebackers coach. And he followed Manny Diaz to become the defense coordinator at the University of Miami. What I find pretty interesting about that was, coaches usually, they start off as a GA, maybe get a full-time position coach as far as like linebacker, safety, and then they move into that coordinator role, and then, a head coach, they'll get a head coaching gig one day, but as far as his career went, he moved up to defensive coordinator at Miami, and then this past season, Coach Diaz said he was going to be the one calling the defense, and Coach Blake Baker, his role kind of got reduced, and he was just that primarily a linebackers coach. So I think that's what kind of prompted him into leaving Miami and joining LSU. Because as far as money goes, I think Miami's got some money. Like they could afford him, they could keep him, but he just kind of left. I think that's probably the main reason why. And he joined LSU, Durante Jones as the defensive coordinator. And as LSU, are we going to go do the co-defensive coordinator? Are we going to be doing stuff like that? That was something we'll have to find out, but. We've never done that before. Is that an option? Durante Jones, he hasn't called a defense in, years since he was at Bowie State, So are we going to be running that co-DC? This guy has defensive coordinator experience. I mean, he's been a DC for about 6 years of his coaching career. So maybe that's something we do. But overall, I think it's a B hire. I love that he's a former defensive coordinator. I love that he has ties to Louisiana. He played football at Tulane, so he's familiar with the area. He's bounced around college football, so guys who have been around college football for at least like 7 or 8 years, like they have a good understanding of how the recruiting works. So I think that's gonna be great. And also he's a young coach. He's a young coach as that linebacker position, where last year we had Bo Pelini, who is an old guy in his, I don't even know, is he late 50s or early 60s? He's been around the game a while, but, the game kind of changed over the years, and he kind of never really changed as far as his coaching style went and his scheme and whatnot. So I think it's a good hire. He's 38 years old. He's a young guy. I think the players are going to relate to him a little better. And let's talk about the other hire LSU made, the new defensive line coach, Andre Carter. So I didn't know this about Andre Carter. I never really heard of him before, but he's a former top 10 NFL pick out of the University of Cal Berkeley. He had a 12-year NFL career. He had 80.5 career sacks. He's been to a Pro Bowl once, and he actually has a record for most sacks in a game with the New England Patriots in 2011. I think that might have been the year that they went undefeated, or was that 2012 or 2000? I'm not quite sure, but he played for the Patriots, played with the Redskins, played with the 49ers. He's been around the league, but yeah, 80.5 career sacks. Like that's, you know, average players don't get that in the NFL. That's above average. I know that an average career in the NFL is probably like 30 to 40 sacks realistically, but he got 80 sacks. And as far as him being a bust, I don't consider that bust material. So he coached with the Dolphins and he coached with the Jets. And when he was with the Dolphins, he worked with Durante Jones. And this past season, obviously, the Jets had a terrible season. Adam Gase got fired. I think they went 2-14. And Robert Saleh, the new coach for the Jets, decided not to retain Andre. And so he decided to, go with his boy Durante and head to LSU and coach the defensive line. I mean, we had the spot open. He's like, hey, sure, why not? Overall, I like this hire. I think it's also a B hire. This guy, he played in the NFL, so he played 12 years in the NFL, so he has a lot of experience. I think that's going to be so valuable coming to a school like LSU where we have all these NFL prospects. An issue I have, though, is that he's never coached in the college ranks before, and he hasn't coached that long. He's been a defensive line coach for, I think it's about 4 years, so it's not a long time, and he coached kind of some bad teams. The Dolphins weren't putting up crazy numbers a few years back, and the Jets, obviously, this past season did not do anything special. So, hey, I think it's a B hire, though, as far as, this guy's his pedigree as being an experienced NFL defensive lineman. And I saw a tweet today, which I thought was really fascinating. So the average age of the 5 coaches who were fired or resigned from LSU this past season was 58.4 years old, okay? And of the 5 replacements we've made, the age is 37.6 years old. So that's a drop of about 20 years. 20 years? Yeah, 20 years, whatever. About 20 years. And I think that's awesome because Coach O I feel like he's listening. And it's awesome. He's not staying with these old cats, these guys who, grew up when football was a lot different back then, when teams were lining up in the I formation and you got to run, 7 in the box. Like, no, that's just not how things are anymore. And I love that he's kind of taking initiative of that and he's recognizing that and he's going younger because, he's picking up these guys who have a lot to prove. These guys haven't really done anything special in their coaching careers. And I think that's going to be fun to watch and it's going to be exciting. And he's getting guys that have a lot to prove and are going to work their ass off for, this LSU football team. And I really look forward to it. But overall, I think both these hires are B hires and, only time will tell as far as if it's going to pay off or whatnot. But I like these hires. I think it's a good hire. I love that Coach O kind of moved a little quick with this process as far as getting these coaches in. Now they can get into school, get these players in the weight room, get them working, get this scheme kind of figured out, and then get ready for spring ball. But yeah, overall it's a B hires, and I'm pretty excited for the future of this LSU defense. So. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys have a wonderful night and you guys are staying safe.